everyone, welcome back to Black and Small Bites with Brooklyn Dunn, where I do reviews on products that I get from Black owned and small businesses. Before I get into this review, y'all like my shirt? It says I'm booked. And do you see this beautiful woman with the fro reading a book? I bought this back in January from a woman named Anita Davis. So she's also an author, but she also designs shirts. So yeah, I'm gonna plug her information in the description box below. Now into this review. Like, I wore this shirt for this review because this review is on a book named Complicated Tears. And so the book is written by a woman named Precious Watkins. I bought this back in March and I just finished it. Precious and I had a great conversation. She is such a beautiful woman. This is actually Precious right here on the cover. So for this book, here, I'm just going to read the back of it and then go into detail. Complicated Tears is about a young girl craving for her mother's love and affection. Throughout her journey of seeking to find her mother's love, she lost herself, causing the little girl to struggle with love, communication, and identity issues. She was faced with much adversity that stemmed from the person she would least expect it to come from. Although the little girl felt alone and so lost, she had one person she could confide in and trust. After looking for love in all the wrong places, the young girl who had become a teenager got pregnant. Because of it, she discovered a pathway and learned how to build bridges to cross the roads when roadblocks were thrown her way. So in a nutshell, this book takes you on a journey of a girl named Tracy. And Tracy was raised by her grandmother. She didn't have much of a relationship with her mom, and they struggled with their relationship pretty much throughout her entire life. And as you can see, like, this is Precious as a little girl. And if you see her face is composed of puzzle pieces that are just all jumbled together. And it just comes across like she was just this misunderstood girl who was almost broken in a way. And towards the end of it, you see that she becomes this put together adult. So this is Precious here, all put together, and I feel like we see her go on a journey from being this broken little girl to this adult that just finds herself. And I feel like that's really relatable, especially for people who had rough childhoods. What I like about this book is the character development. Now, the descriptions of the way like the people looked in the book weren't necessarily there. I feel like that could have been fleshed out more, but as far as like the characters themselves, their personalities, you could really get a good grasp of who these people were. I also love how Tracy's character, changed over time. Like, I felt like I was really just in her shoes or a fly on the wall throughout everything that she went through. At the end of each chapter, there is a quote. So if you could see this here, there's a quote. And then there will be in between 3 to 5 questions that are related to the chapter, but also like really reflective. It gives you a better understanding of the chapter and also of yourself. So for this one, this is the end of chapter 6. Rise above the storm and you will find the sunshine. Unknown. And so the questions were, have you ever striven to prove someone wrong? And I said yes. If yes, what was the outcome? So my first car was a stick shift. I'm from Chicago. In Chicago, there are multiple ways to get around the city. So driving wasn't necessarily a necessity for me. We moved out to the suburbs of Chicago my senior year of high school. So I spent I slept in the suburbs, but I lived in the city is almost how my life was that senior year. And then I spent the entire summer before college in the city. And then I went away to college where I was in a small town where almost a lot of things were in walking distance unless you took the campus buses off campus to get places. You could really get around without having a car. So long story short, having a car or being able to drive rather wasn't necessarily a priority to me. And I got my license when I was like 24. Don't judge me, but y'all gonna judge anyways. Most people got their license when they was like 16. It is what it is. Anyways, I learned how to drive in an automatic car. And so my grandfather got this stick shift from a friend whose like granddaughter had the car had broke down on the expressway, and he decided to just give it away. My grandfather was like, I'm gonna get it fixed up and I'm gonna give it to you. And the car got fixed up, and I did not know how to drive a stick shift. And everyone kept telling me, you're not gonna be able to drive that. You can't do that. It's too hard. And I'm just like, who are you talking to? So what I decided to do, because I needed my stepdad to go to the auto shop to help me get the car. But with his schedule, he wasn't able to do it. So I kept watching YouTube videos of how to drive a stick shift, because I was like, I'm gonna get this. And I got up early. I got to the auto shop in enough time where I could get the car, drive all the way back home, and then drive back to work and still be at work on time. Because I didn't live far from my job. And the bus route, let's see, from where I lived at the time, my apartment was 10 minutes away from my job. And the bus route would take 45 minutes to get there just from taking the bus. So long story short, I learned how to drive stick shift. I pretty much taught myself. It was not easy, but I did it. And couldn't nobody tell me nothing afterwards. So there's that. Next question was, do you believe when a person attacks your character, that it's a result of their own insecurities? At first, no. I used to internalize the things that people would say to me. But now it's just like looking back. And granted, I did allow things that people said to me hold me back. I was a news and performance broadcasting major. I really wanted to be a TV personality, a radio personality. And anytime I tell someone that, they're like, you got the personality for it. You got the drive for it. Like, I could really see you doing it. Like, I know how to work a room, okay? But it just seems like with the news, like, they're like, oh, well, you know, you have to wear your hair straight and you have to look like this. And I felt like I didn't fit the image of those on TV, because I didn't really see people with, at that time, I was rocking my natural hair. Like, Brooke was known, like, you know, I was known for my fro. I even inspired people to go natural, like when I was in college. And I let my image hold me back because I felt like I wasn't good enough to be on TV. I wasn't pretty enough to be on TV. I didn't fit the mold that was cast for people to be on TV. So I didn't pursue it the way that I should have. So I really did internalize those things. You know, that's part of the reason why I got this YouTube now. But yeah, next question is, are you good at holding yourself accountable when you're in the wrong? Yes. In the heat of the moment, you know, yeah, in the heat of the moment, not always, but after, like, I feel like sometimes you have to step back and really look at the situation. And of course, I always have people who are not willing, who are willing to tell you the truth. Like, I am not the yes man to my friends. Like, don't call me and expect me to automatically side with you. My best friend, the guy that she was dating at the time, I did not like him. There was a period of time where I could not stand him. But when she would tell me about some of their issues, I was like, why you do that man like that? You know you wrong. And I would take his side on things. Even though I would talk trash to his face, I would take his side on things. He just never knew until, you know, we got cool. You know, I still got love for him or whatever. But yeah. But yeah, I do take accountability for my actions, and I'm not afraid or too prideful to say sorry to somebody, especially when I know I'm wrong. Like, you know, I want to talk it out and say, hey, I was wrong for this. I apologize. Do you forgive me? I'm not the person to say, if I did this to you. No, you clearly saying that I did it or that I made you feel this way. And since, not if I made you feel this way, but since I made you feel this way, I'm going to own up to it and say sorry. Last question. When was the last time you had to hold yourself accountable for something? Oh, being mean to my dad. There's a situation where I had a bunch of brothers and sisters. But it was two of my brothers and one of my sisters. Their birthday is like within the same week, and in May. And so I had to go pick one of them up. But I had done a lot of running around, and I was just like, because I'm the oldest, I feel like, a lot is put on my plate, expect me to, be there and show up and do everything. And I was just like, I'm kind of sick of it. So I was kind of pissed off at one of my sisters, and I ended up taking it out on my dad. And so we ended up going bowling to celebrate everybody's birthday. And I walked up to him and I was just like, hey, so the other day I was pissed off at your daughter, and I was feeling this way. I took it out on you, and I'm sorry. And he looked at me, he was like, you know what, I appreciate it. And then he bought me a drink. So, it was all good in the hood. But yeah. There was another quote. What was it? 90. Faith is seeing light in your heart when all your eyes see is darkness. With this, Tracy has somebody there who would support her and always support her, always speak life into her. And I feel like it's great to have those people in your life where you only see the negative things. And I have a friend who always tries to see the silver lining. And even my boyfriend, like, for him, he's like a really happy person. And I'd be like, nah, I'm mad. I need to be mad right now. I'll be happy later. And he's like, nah, we about to fix this right now because I don't have time for your attitude. And I'd be like, but babe, I want to, like, let me process my emotions. And he's like, no, yeah, this is a situation, but also look at this. Look at the flip side. Look at how things turned out. And it's just like, yeah, you're right. Like, holding out on faith, believing that things will get better. Such a beautiful thing. Oh, speaking on faith, I feel like in this book there was a lot of relatable things in here. One of the things was pretty much the phrase, when one door closes, another one opens. And it really made me think. There was a situation where Tracy dealt with a manager who was microaggressive, and a lot of times, Black women, we deal with racism in the office or microaggressions, like either it's because of ignorance or people really just don't care. And she, was dealing with a manager who's just rude, who wasn't treating her right, and she ended up getting working elsewhere where she was happier. And it's like, door closed on this, another one open. Then she's at a job where she's happier, but then she has to deal with another manager who comes across as sexist. Like, he was just, I don't know, like, men who are in power are weird sometimes, because if I'm doing my job right, why are you coming at me? Like, do you want to be me? Do you want to date me? Like, what is this? I don't know. It's just weird. So she had a manager who's being bogus. Her mom was helping her out with something and was like, oh, I can't help you with this anymore. And she's just like, I just got, like, things going good. And then boom, I get hit with this. Like, what the hell? But then door closes, another one opens, and she ends up doing better. And seeing that constantly, happen throughout the book, it really just made me think that, or made me reflect on how, like, at my last job, I dealt with, a supervisor where I felt like I dealt with microaggressions, people talking to me, the tone police, the way that they would talk to me sometimes, trying to pressure me into working off the clock, working through my lunch. It was frustrating. And I just got fed up. And I started applying elsewhere, and now I'm at a better job with an even better supervisor who, oh my gosh, I love my supervisor. Like, his energy is unmatched. And it's like, it made me really think, like, wow, had I just believed in myself more, I could have left this job a long time ago. But I was complacent where I was, and I felt like God made me uncomfortable to the point where I had to leave. I ain't have no choice but to leave, and it was for the better. So, whatever door gets closed in your face, just know another one about to open. It might even be wider than the previous one. If you said you accept her for who she is, then you really need to stop holding her to the standard of being someone she isn't. And this was pretty much Tracy was dealing with her mom. And a lot of times, you have that family member or that, like, friend, that close person in your life where you just wish that they were different. Like, if you could only be this way, things would be smoother between us. And sometimes people will gaslight you, especially when that family member or person is toxic. Like, oh, but they're still your mom. You only get one dad. You know, that's still your grandmother. That's still your aunt. I mean, they're family. Like, you can't turn your back on family. But it's like, family put their hands on me. Family stole from me. Family slept with my husband. Everybody's saying soul food. The family, oh, who is that? What was her name? The oldest, oh, Terry. Faith slept with Terry's husband. I mean, that's still your family. No, like, sometimes you really have to accept people for who they are. Like, for me, I always, like, I say this. I can accept you for who you are, but I also get to control the amount of capacity that you take in my life. Like, once you get to the point where it's just like, I see who you are. I see that you are choosing to be this way and not changing and not improving. Okay, cool. I'm gonna move different. I can't sit up here and say, well, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I can't sit up here and be like, oh, well, I just wish they didn't do this. I already knew they was gonna do it. I know who they are. That's like me believing that fat meat ain't greasy. What's the point of believing it? If we all know that's what it's going to turn out to at the end of the day. So that really made me reflect on that. And yeah, I just really like this book. Like, after reading it, like, towards the end, there were questions where it was just like, one of the questions asked, what are some things you would like to, let me reread this. What are some things you would like to do differently after reading this book? And I said, improve my faith in God, stop holding myself back, talk nicely to myself, and work harder at my goals. And while reading this book, I'm like, no cap, I did start to like feel like I need to push myself more. Like, if Tracy could deal with all this and, push herself with this and, just believe and keep fighting, how come I can't do it? Like, how come I can't do it? So I've been progressing and, pushing myself and believing in myself more. And I feel like we are our own worst critics. I'll do something wrong and be like, what is wrong with you? You're worthless. And it's just like, it wasn't even that big a deal. Like, you spilled some juice on the floor, go mop it up. You spilled some juice on the carpet, go dab it out. Hot water, laundry detergent. Like, you can't just put yourself down when you make mistakes, because you learn from them. If you have the will to keep striving and moving forward, do so, and don't hold yourself back. The last thing that I'm gonna touch on, like, this book made me really reflect on life and just want to improve myself and strive harder. The last thing I'm gonna leave y'all on is this, where Tracy says, once I found my own peace, I was able to stop letting words control my emotions. When you know who you are, there's nothing that anyone can say to rock that foundation. Like, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are, make peace with who you are, stand your ground, and keep it moving. Like, there's nothing that I feel like I'm starting to get there, but I'm not exactly there just yet. But I feel like there's nothing anyone can say to me that I haven't probably told myself already, or someone else hasn't already told me, or that life hasn't already taught me. Granted, I haven't learned everything. I'm about to be 30 soon. I ain't learned everything yet, because I'm still young, but I've learned a lot in this life. So, that's a goal for me, to be at a point where my foundation is just so strong. Like, somebody will say something and it instantly just go like this. Oh, anything else? Like, you're not about to penetrate this. You're not going to penetrate my heart. You're not going to penetrate my spirit. Like, I want my faith to be that strong where no weapon formed against me shall prosper, including the words that people say. So I'm gonna leave y'all on that. I definitely feel like y'all should read this book, Complicated Tears. I will leave the information in the description box below. Until next time, bye.